Welcome to the Daily Vibecasting. Today we're diving straight into the buzziest moments from X, delivering your essential daily roundup of what's got everyone talking, from tech breakthroughs and market shifts to cultural debates. We've got a stack of fresh posts to unpack for you.
That's right. Think of it as a precision scan of the digital landscape. We're here to give you a real sense of the variety and intensity of topics shaping conversations right now, quickly and clearly, so you're ready for whatever the day brings.
Absolutely. Let's roll with our first post, straight from the feed, and this one captures a moment in tech history, doesn't it? It's from @PBBudoge, and it reads, "The reset that changed the world." And there's a link.
Yep.
Now, the image attached is a Nintendo 64 cartridge. Okay, let's unpack this. A meme with an N64 cartridge. What's fascinating here? What's the real story behind this digital reset?
Well, what's fascinating here is how this meme with that, familiar N64 cartridge, it just perfectly captures the cultural sentiment around the 2023 rebranding of Twitter to X under Elon Musk. It's humorous, yeah, but also a pretty pointed commentary, depicting the change as a reset. Much like gamers used to tilt an N64 cartridge to fix glitches or just try to make a game work.
Right, that little wiggle trick.
Exactly. And this isn't just an idle joke. It really reflects the turbulent transformation the platform's gone through. We've seen significant leadership shifts, like CEO Linda Yaccarino resigning back in July 2025. And there's been considerable cultural resistance. A 2024 YouGov Brand Index study, for instance, found that a staggering 49% of Americans still habitually call it Twitter.
Wow, nearly half. That's stubborn.
It really highlights the challenge, doesn't it? Brand transformation when user loyalty is so deep, and beyond the name, there have been analyses like one from late 2024 noting algorithmic biases post-rebranding, suggesting deeper platform changes are definitely at play, including new features like, extensive AI integration.
So this meme isn't just about a glitchy game. It's a powerful symbol of that ongoing battle for cultural identity and perception when a major brand undergoes such a radical change. Okay, moving on to another tech giant, or maybe one of Musk's other ventures. This next post is directly from @Elon Musk himself. He says, "Great progress by the Starlink team. 7 million users across over 150 regions. That's a massive leap." Here's where it gets really interesting. Elon Musk himself praising Starlink. What's the scoop here?
This is indeed a huge milestone. Musk's post celebrating Starlink connecting 7 million people across over 150 regions and countries. That's significant reach. And this achievement is largely driven by its innovative use of low Earth orbit, or LEO, satellites. There was a 2023 study in Nature Communications confirming this LEO tech significantly cuts latency down to under 20 milliseconds.
Which is incredibly fast compared to the old satellite tech, right?
Remarkably faster. More responsive than traditional geostationary systems. That speed difference is crucial for everything from, say, online gaming to critical business ops. And if you connect this to the bigger picture, the timing lines up with recent global internet disruptions. Think Pakistan's connectivity dropping significantly just this month, August 2025. It really highlights Starlink's growing potential as a resilient alternative, capable of bypassing traditional, often vulnerable ground infrastructure limits.
Yeah.
And it's all made more viable by SpaceX's reusable rocket tech, which, has slashed launch cost estimates, say, around 50% since 2015, making this global expansion actually economically feasible.
That's a fascinating dual role. Innovation for the connected world, but also potentially a critical lifeline during disruptions. Okay, while Starlink expands, another tech giant's financial structure is drawing attention. Our next post raises some eyebrows in the financial world. From @UnusualWhales, it reads, Nvidia, have reported that a single customer accounted for 23% of its total quarterly revenue of $46.7 billion per Bloomberg. So what does this all mean for the tech giant? One customer, nearly a quarter of revenue.
Yeah, this raises a really important question about market concentration and, frankly, the risks involved. That 23% from one customer in Q2 2025, that's a significant jump from Q1. Back then, their top two customers accounted for 13% and 11% respectively. So this rapid concentration of sales, it's almost certainly tied into the explosive demand for AI infrastructure, particularly those advanced GPUs.
So likely one of the big cloud players.
Probably. While there's no direct Q2 confirmation, historical data from UBS back in May 2024 suggested Microsoft has been Nvidia's largest customer. Bloomberg supply chain estimates seem to align with that trend generally. The inherent risk, of course, is that heavy reliance on one client. I mean, imagine if Microsoft decided to invest more heavily in developing its own AI chips or started sourcing more from a competitor.
That would definitely send ripples through Nvidia's financials.
Absolutely. We've seen Nvidia face vulnerabilities before, right? Like that 24.5% revenue drop in China due to restrictions on their high-end GPUs. This kind of customer concentration, especially in such a fast-moving market, could amplify those risks significantly if that key customer shifts strategy or faces its own hurdles. It forces Nvidia into a delicate dance of keeping that relationship strong while also trying to diversify.
That really does put a lot of eggs in one basket. From an investment angle, it's that double-edged sword of hyper-growth through a concentrated customer base. Okay, shifting gears now from tech to the cultural and political discussions heating up online. This next one is from @JD Vance, the Vice President of the United States. He writes, "It is shocking to me that so many left-wing politicians attack the idea of prayer in response to a tragedy. Literally, no one thinks prayer is a substitute for action. We pray because our hearts are broken and we believe that God is listening." Okay, let's unpack this, a significant post from the Vice President. Vance is clearly pushing back on a familiar critique. What's the deeper context here for you? What's at the heart of this cultural friction?
Well, this post really reflects let's say, a growing cultural divide, especially in how people respond to tragedy and the public discourse around it. There was a 2023 Pew Research study that found 45% of Americans primarily see prayer as a personal coping mechanism, a source of comfort after tragedy, while 29% view it as insufficient without accompanying action.
That difference in perspective seems key.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it often fuels the critiques from what Vance calls left-wing politicians. Interestingly, the American Psychological Association in 2024 also published data suggesting prayer can indeed reduce stress hormones like cortisol by about 10–15% in believers. So that scientifically supports the emotional role Vance highlights. But what's particularly interesting is that this isn't really a new partisan issue. Discussions like this, they echo 19th century U.S. responses to disasters, where religious leaders often advocated prayer alongside concrete action. It's a recurring tension.
So it's about how societies seek comfort and solutions, that mix of spiritual solace and practical steps.
Exactly, that persistent tension playing out in public.
Given this long-standing debate, it's clear this isn't just a political talking point, but maybe a deeply ingrained difference in how people approach collective trauma. And speaking of unexpected political moves, this next post makes quite the claim. From @InevitableWest, it says, "Breaking. Conor McGregor reveals he has secured the required number of parliamentary votes to run for Ireland's next president. Ireland has a chance of survival." Followed by a link. Here's where it gets really interesting. The MMA star running for president. Is this for real?
What's fascinating here is the sheer audacity of the claim, which, quite frankly, lacks any factual evidence. Zero. To run for president in Ireland, you need nominations from either 20 Oireachtas members, that's members of the Irish Parliament, or from 4 local authorities.
Okay.
And according to the 1993 Presidential Elections Act and recent fact checks from places like Euronews, McGregor simply hasn't met that threshold. So no, this isn't a genuine run.
So why the post then? What's the appeal?
Well, posts like this often tap into a broader public frustration within Ireland. Issues like immigration, certain EU policies. That frustration could explain the appeal of a disruptor like McGregor, who's known for his outspoken, often provocative style.
Right, shaking things up.
Yeah. But it's also important to remember, if we connect this to the bigger picture, Ireland's presidential role. It's largely ceremonial, limited executive power. So even if he were somehow elected, his anti-immigration platform, it wouldn't likely impact policy directly. That power lies with the Taoiseach and the government.
So, more about tapping into a populist sentiment than a genuine grab for power. It underscores how celebrity and public frustration can fuel these unlikely political narratives, even when the facts aren't there. Okay, let's turn to a brand that's been caught in the crosshairs of cultural debates. From @Leading Report, the Post claims, "Breaking. Cracker Barrel will end funding for Pride events and remove woke propaganda from its site after massive boycotting." So what does this all mean for Cracker Barrel, another company navigating the culture wars?
Well, this post seems to refer to a satirical or maybe critical jab at Cracker Barrel's leadership. Sometimes there are references to a perceived woke figurehead, this sort of black-rimmed glasses lady idea tied to recent corporate shifts. It's definitely contextualized by recent events, like that highly publicized logo change that sparked significant backlash from conservative figures, most notably Donald Trump Sr.
Right, remember that.
Yeah, and it reportedly led to a $100 million market value drop for the company, according to The Guardian just this month. But this isn't entirely new territory for Cracker Barrel. They faced similar cultural pushback before, remember the Pride Month support controversy in 2023?
Vaguely.
So this latest logo reversal and the implied shift in stance in posts like this one, it suggests that market pressure and consumer backlash often outweigh progressive branding efforts for these types of companies. It highlights that delicate balance they have to strike.
It's a commercial tightrope walk, isn't it? Navigating these deeply polarized cultural debates.
Absolutely.
It certainly sounds like market pressure is dictating strategy here, raising the question of whether companies are getting increasingly wary of taking overt social stances. And this next post ties into that theme of strong, unapologetic statements. From @RileyGaines, it simply says, "I will continue to pray with no apologies."
Okay, let's unpack this. Riley Gaines is making a clear, defiant statement. What's the context behind this particular sentiment?
Riley Gaines, yeah, the former NCAA swimmer turned activist, she posted this amid these ongoing cultural debates that she's become quite central to. Her statement reflects a really significant pivot, from initially supporting transgender athlete Leah Thomas back in 2022 to becoming a prominent and very vocal voice in anti-trans sports advocacy. She even founded the Riley Gaines Center in 2023.
And her stance aligns with a significant chunk of the U.S. population. A 2023-24 Pew Research study showed 52% of U.S. adults favored teacher-led Christian prayers in public schools. This national divide really fuels much of her public advocacy, especially as legal battles over religious expression in public spaces heat up. So her declaration, "I will continue to pray with no apologies," it's a personal statement of faith, sure, but it also functions as a powerful public stance. It resonates with a segment pushing back against perceived challenges to traditional values. It shows how individual acts of faith can become public statements in these broader cultural battles.
It's clear her statement resonates deeply within that larger contentious public debate over religious expression and cultural values. And speaking of the power of prayer, this next post takes a very specific, almost mythological view. From @JackPasobiec, he writes, "Prayer causes pain to demons. This is why demons order their human familiars to urge people to stop praying. It harms their masters, especially when many pray at once or attend church." Here's where it gets really interesting, a strong claim about the power of prayer. What's the historical or cultural lens for this?
This post reflects a belief that's deeply rooted in certain interpretations of, well, Christian demonology. Prayer is seen as a powerful spiritual weapon that literally causes distress to demonic entities. This concept you can find echoes in historical texts like the Pseudomonarchia Daemonum from 1583 by Johann Weyer. It actually catalogs demons and their hierarchies, suggesting a very structured spiritual conflict.
Wow, okay.
And the mention of human familiars. That aligns directly with medieval European folklore, where familiars were these supernatural entities believed to aid witches or cunning folk, acting as their agents. This cultural narrative of humans serving demonic forces has persisted in some modern interpretations, especially within certain faith communities.
So a very different take on prayer than, say, the JD Vance post.
Absolutely. If Vance focused on prayer as comfort and coping, Pasobiec presents it as an active, almost combative spiritual force. And this perspective also connects to ongoing tensions over public prayer, like that 2012 Saskatoon prayer controversy in Canada where secular groups challenged its use in government settings. It just underscores the enduring influence of these ancient spiritual beliefs in modern political and cultural commentary.
So we see these different facets of prayer being discussed. Comfort, coping, spiritual warfare. Fascinating. Let's circle back to Cracker Barrel for just a moment, because there's a follow-up that clarifies some of our earlier discussion. From @EndWokeness, the post says, Cracker Barrel's 93-year-old founder has some strong words for the CEO trying to rebrand and modernize, followed by a link. So what does this all mean, especially after our earlier discussion about Cracker Barrel? The founder is speaking out. What's the core message here?
Right. This post really elaborates on that criticism of Cracker Barrel's rebranding efforts we touched on, specifically the modernizing of the logo and the interior design. The argument here, reportedly from the founder himself, is that these changes were, well, unnecessary and crucially alienated the brand's core customer base.
The ones who like the traditional feel.
Exactly. Those customers cherished its traditional, nostalgic, old country store appeal. The backlash, as we mentioned, was significant, including strong criticism from high-profile figures like President Trump. And this public pressure ultimately led the company to reverse the logo change, reinstating the original design with Uncle Herschel and the old country store text.
So tradition won out.
In this case, yeah. It's not just about a logo, it's about the perceived soul of the brand, its values. It powerfully underscores that often emotional conflict between preserving brand heritage and chasing modern trends. Here, the market, and importantly, the founder's voice, spoke clearly.
That's a powerful statement from a founder, illustrating that tension. Okay, for our final post today, we're back in the realm of space and internet culture. From @SpaceX, it simply reads, Falcon 9 lifts off from Pad 39A in Florida, with a link. Okay, let's unpack this. A classic SpaceX launch. But there's a meme element here, isn't there? How does this Toppy PK imagery blend with SpaceX's serious space endeavors?
There absolutely is. The post features a meme, yeah. Combining Elon Musk's image with a rocket launch background, and it's labeled Elon Musk Top Kek. Now, for anyone unfamiliar, Top Kek is internet slang. It's a variation of lol, or laughing out loud, originated in online gaming, but has importantly been co-opted and used by some far-right groups online.
Right, that association is key.
It is. And we've seen Musk himself engage with this. He even used Kikius Maximus as a handle on X sometimes, which led to a surge in related crypto and drew criticism due to those associations. Fast Company noted this back in January 2025. The meme's timing here aligns with an actual SpaceX Falcon 9 launch on August 28, 2025, from historic Pad 39A in Florida. So this post perfectly illustrates that fascinating and often controversial intersection of Musk's undeniable business achievements and his deep active engagement with internet meme culture.
It's a bizarre mix, isn't it? Groundbreaking science and fringe internet cultural references.
Definitely a unique blend.
It truly is. And that's our rapid-fire daily vibe-casting roundup for today. We've covered a huge range in this deep dive, haven't we? From the biggest players in the tech world and their transformative innovations to deeply personal cultural and political statements shaping our conversations online.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, what today's posts really show us is that X, well, it remains this dynamic, often unfiltered reflection of global conversations. It's where you quickly see groundbreaking progress, entrenched cultural divides, and just about everything in between, all unfolding in real time. It gives us a crucial pulse check on the world.
It truly does. As we scroll through these posts each day, what does this rapid-fire exchange of ideas tell us about the speed at which our world is changing, and maybe that constant tension between innovation and tradition that plays out online? Thanks for joining us for another deep dive into today's most important and interesting conversations.